What are you doing?
Because I can't put his pants back on. All right, let's talk about VALORANT. I think for BBL Pacific, they don't want to be another favorite like falling down, right? We've seen Enterprise, we've seen what can happen in this tournament. But for me specifically, I need to see Lovers Rock step up. I think we've yet to see like a live game from him just yet. So I think if he could do that, they got a good chance.
He was playing up and got dry swung several rounds in a row and shut down. I feel like some of his biggest success was like with his Sheriff or his Stinger. Like the guy had a tough map, and I think he has to bounce back here if BBL Pacific are going to have a chance.
And I think it's going to be quite tough as well, because the Viper is going to cut off a lot of the angles he's going to want to take, and he's going to need to find ways to deal with that Viper.
Viper number 1.
Yeah, I also heard that Tom really wants to solo cast this map.
Oh yeah, I'll just stay here.
Yeah, he specifically
Couch is
said,
comfortable.
like, he doesn't get enough, you know, airtime.
A long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame him when he's got to deal with you? Yeah, Tom, honestly, you're welcome. I did you a favor. You don't have to do this with Mitch again.
All by myself.
Mitch hasn't even put his shoes on.
Don't wanna be all by myself anymore. Oh. You can go back. Can I have Mini instead? Is that? I want the taller one of the two, so if Mini wants to come through. Yeah, why have you taken the mic with you? You know we have mics in here. You don't need to do that. But anyway, we are going to be getting back into the game relatively soon once... actually, no, he's got 5 seconds. He needs to put his headsets on now. So if you hear any noise, you know why. But yeah, I think BBL Pacific looking to try and find that response, and whether or not Twisted Minds can keep this one going. They've actually put back
didn't
down.
even notice I put my headset on there. Well, Tom, what a wonderful...
Look, Kraven has just retrieved... I like that. He was putting the trip down. They then put a shock down. He retrieves it midway through. Like, it was a game of chicken that I think he's come out on top. So, yeah, he can put that trip back down into position again. And they've wasted, wow, one of the shock darts. They could go for it again.
They could, but he might be there. He might be there to steal it right back. I got to say, one of the best Analyst Death segments we've had in a long time. It was great to see some new faces out there. Lloyd,
the tallest one
up close.
as well.
He's already made his way into the site, snuck up close to the smoke, and he will take down Exit. Lovers Rock with a player that we have our eyes on, needing to see him step up. He was shut down in the previous, and Mini had the concerns about that Viper wall, cutting off a lot of his angles. Not so much in the pistol round, I imagine, but that Viper wall won't be a factor anymore. With Sand and Exit already down, 2 big players removed, and man advantage for the defensive side. Lovers Rock and Kraven at least tagged up a little bit, but this play towards the A side is everything. Rose needs to stay alive up in heaven, or take a pick here, but the retake looks strong already.
Yeah, he's probably just going to wait out the dart, or at least you'd expect him to.
A little shocked.
A little bit of extra chip damage, a lot of chip damage, in fact.
Chunk damage.
And then the reveal. Back online. Just waiting for his teammates to set back up. Now, there's already a player watching onto the flanks. They know there's nobody coming from there. Zemo up close is going to go down immediately. And now this leaves Jesse pinged up and spammed out. Perfect use of the dart. Last man standing, Sikri versus 4. And well, his dart is online at least. That will give him a little bit of a chance, but it's already been shot. Now just needs a miracle spam, and there is absolutely no hope that he takes this round. It will be going the way of BBL Pacific, and a little bit of extra damage, maybe a couple of extra orbs for him. He's run out of bullets.
Survives the round at least. Well, 1-0 start for BBL Pacific, and now they'll be facing, presumably, an eco, but that one goes carried through. Now, Tom, it's time for a new segment here.
Oh,
to go into round 2. It's Ask the Audience, and more so, Audience asks us. During the conversation with Ulysses earlier, he had a question about Twisted Minds that I want to put to you, Tom Biz. He asked, why does the mascot look like it's inspired by you?
Standing ahead.
Oh, because it's a brain, because I'm so intelligent. That's very kind of you, Uli. I appreciate the compliment that you've just given me.
God damn it, Uli. I need you to lock in for the next one, okay?
Thank you very much. That's such a nice thing for him to say, especially after I took the piss out of him, like literally last map.
That one has backfired.
He is a much better man than I am.
That has backfired significantly. We will go back to the kitchen on that one and start cooking, as some people say. At BBL Pacific, they don't need to cook too much here. It is just no shield, mostly classics. They haven't even bought that ghost that was brought over from the last, and it should be one without too much stress. In terms of finding information, there's not a lot they can do because everybody's grouped up in a little clump waiting outside of the window, and it will be a slow walk towards this A site. Already Lover's Rock is on the rotate, and most importantly, Rose has that reveal online. Wall goes down. We can either see that go down or just a little jiggle peeks, a little wider than a jiggle, but he'll land himself the pick onto exit, and now a lot of that danger is gone. They can't close the distance too easily. They have tagged LaRock up, but I imagine he'll just remove himself from the rest of these fights.
30 seconds left.
A couple of them low.
Remaining.
For Lover's Rock, it does kind of come down to the orbs actually being more valuable than the Marshal, so he can look to hunt this if he desires. And for Sand, well, unfortunately, all he can really hope to do is perish. That will be the case. Lover's Rock will be there to convert an extra few kills for him, and I like the fact that he was highlighted. I want to see what this guy has got, because the unfortunate truth with Lover's Rock is, although Rose has said that this guy is bringing a lot, like in terms of vibes, he thinks that he fits the team very well, he's a lot more like loud and vocal necessarily than Comeback, we are comparing him to Comeback on the server. And that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult, because Comeback has always been one of the most exciting and also one of the most prolific duelists we've seen. So it's a tough comparison. We'll see if he can live up to it. For BBL Pacific, of course, a map down. And the more interesting thing is that Ulf have been a big fan of them on the analyst desk. Well, if BBL Pacific lose this match and then win the next one, Ulf will have to beat them. That's what's on the line as well. If there's a chance for two Turkish teams to make it through, BBL Pacific need to win this game.
And talking about the route that the loser will take, of course, the winner will be just one series away from locking in a slot in VCT. A BO5, they'll have a few days to prepare for it as well. So a lot to play for in terms of taking the W here versus even following through that lower bracket run. You get a whole extra day to prepare and a whole extra series where you don't have to show what you've been cooking up. This is going to be a slow approach by Twisted Minds, and of course with what they're up against, it makes sense. There's no easy site to push. There's weapons across the board for BBL Pacific, maybe not Vandals and Phantoms, but the Bulldogs can do just as much. The Marshal can be pretty strong.
Tougher in a retake though. That's what will make it more difficult. This is where those post plants are going to be tough. Lover's Rock, I don't know if he, wow, he might expect one player. Will he expect a second? I believe that was a lineup being set up, and I don't know if he will have seen it. Instead, he's going to try and dive forward, but is slowly being surrounded on Jesse, holding on that backline. Lover's Rock's done well. Unfortunately, it's down to just one. Kreven's got it to half, but kind of needed to be able to stick it. It's not quite going to work out for him. Twisted Minds survived with 3 standing. Not bad versus the bonus, but it was a bonus. There's still a buy coming back for BBL Pacific.
Yes, indeed. Like we said, it was Bulldogs and a Marshal and that pesky little Spectre brought into this round. Not one that they really had much of a chance in, and then being put into the retake, they've done well to at least make it look possible with exit tagged low, but still 3 players alive. Twisted Minds can be happy with their 3rd round, but now the 4th. This is the real challenge. Lover's Rock 6-1, a great start to this map, which is what we wanted to see, but with the op in hand, it was a lot of missed shots and a lot of punishes from Twisted Minds in the previous, and it looks like not much has changed with an initial miss, and Twisted Minds getting space towards this B site, even a pick onto LaRock, removing that breach utility, which is so valuable when playing the retakes. Kreven, though, has caught exit.
Yeah, Lover's Rock also got tagged drastically low. The second they shoot the dart, the spam from Loiter has given them the advantage. It was a tough start to the round. Drones will be trading places, desperately looking for information, and there will be some had for that defensive side. But they've struggled with the post plant. Still having that Viper online, you just can't get in onto the spike and bait them into the fight, but they have been able to find a kill here and there. It's left all onto one man. The shot dart might just be enough to do it, but it's been dodged. Kreven sitting back, and now that reveal coming in the swing, but Kreven hits the shot first. That time not nearly low enough. A nice attempt from Sikri, but ultimately the round has gone the way of Pacific.
let's not forget, it was a 4-1 start to the previous map as well. We even began it by saying how BBL Pacific seemed to have that same impressive style that worked so well for Ulf being brought onto the server, and it completely changed.
They won the pistol and second round in both halves.
Yes, yes.
And then it was
in
still
fact, even the third round in the first one as well. So they had a 5-0 start in terms of early half success. And still it ended up flipping, not just that Twisted Minds won it in a close game, but it was 13-8.
Yeah.
Twisted Minds, especially considering those early rounds, you remove those, it's like a 13-3. It was a dominant scoreline. And, well, BBL Pacific, they've done well here, but we need to see them build on this early success.
It's a map where I do feel like comfort levels are at a different level to the previous map, though. They have destroyed some of their toughest opposition. And Enterprise and Focus in the last couple of games. For now, though, it is just this lighter bite. The SMG's trying to find something for them here. It's a little bit whiffy from Greven, and Exit has been able to do some damage. The problem is they are beginning to fall. And with what remains, even the SMGs don't stand anymore. It's just a classic and a singular Sheriff, and that Sheriff is stuck on the other side of a smoke.
Standing ahead.
Last player standing.
Stepping out is a death sentence, as we see, and they know where Zemo is. Yeah, there's not much to be done about this one. Same as the previous map, a 4-1 start in the first half for BBL Pacific. Strong showing on their defense. This is a map where I don't expect them to taper off, though, quite as easily as they did on the previous. I mean, Twisted Minds, you heard it from Mini as well, that they just look really good when it comes to Lotus, and that is without a doubt the case. But the problem for me is this is where we saw Exit just flip a switch and become an entirely different player. Although I do think at this point he was already like 8-4. Like he was looking really good in the early stages as well.
Well, the one round they have was his ace.
That's true, actually. Yes, of course.
So
he was,
yeah, they were 3-1 with him having at least 5 kills. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it was more. It's going to be difficult to repeat, but in fact, this first time around, we're already feeling pretty bleak. It's now up to the opposition to prove they are up to the task of beating Twisted Minds, and that's not the start they were looking for. The aggressive operator, Lovers Rock has been doing well on the scoreboard so far, but that is another miss. And while the aggression of Rose will be punished in the same way, a rotation from LaRock, he's going to be in position, but already spotted. It may just be revealed as well. The drone coming over the top hasn't managed to tag him. It at least gives him a position to dance around. And him, again, alongside Loiter, have just taken over. The young duo with 4 kills on the site. And what Zemo was meant to be a last-minute flank, he is nowhere near the action anymore.
Last minute, he's coming into the final hour. And he's all alone. That was really nice, and I think you look at comfort for BBL Pacific, and you can see it right there. Rose going down, immediate rotations. LaRock pops stun on short, which forces Exit forward. And that flank around was being watched by Loida. They had all their bases covered. Looking to see if Zemo has a chance, and he's done well. That's a nice shot, but the tag in return cuts him to 34. He's not going to grab the plant just yet, and forced into the open. LaRock will find his 4th. Rolling Thunder online for the next. The thing is, that's a big investment from the other side. This is what I'm talking about, right? The stun goes in. Exit tries to run around, and Lloyd is covering it. It really felt like each player had someone on their back ready to cover each angle. No one left open. Until that final flank for Twisted Minds, a pause as they're 5-1 down.
And that's the thing, you combine these two in terms of the sort of the age that they are, the individual skill that they have, but it is just the synergy. Like, you watch LaRock and Loiter play together, and it really does feel like they're almost like the same person deciding where both of them go. Like, they are on the same page throughout. Thoroughly impressed with what they've been able to do, and that round was solely down to them, mostly down to LaRock, but he wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of his friend. 5-1, a little bit more damning already than the early start we saw on the last map, but also because of the way Twisted Minds lost that round. Like, that was a pretty hefty advantage with 2 opening picks on A, and then you just get slaughtered. And sure, we've already mentioned it. LaRock and Loiter did excellently to isolate those fights, but You can't be throwing away advantages like that versus BBL Pacific.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is, right, they made the best of a bad situation in terms of containing that chaos, controlling the chaos in a way, right? They set themselves up to have fights where someone couldn't come behind them, is what I'm highlighting. Should LaRock have gotten 3 kills as they ran into him? Absolutely not. That's out of the realms of reason. So that's really where, for Twisted Minds, sure, look, they set themselves up for success, but that success should still have been out of reach, and it wasn't. Rose, you know what, man? Screw what Mini says about you, all right? He said every 4-star players. Well, Rose is coming in with that Odin.
Yeah.
An impressive player, and you know what? I'd give him MVP a chance playing like that.
How many kills did he get there?
Tom, you're sounding like Mini now. It's not about kills. No. Hold on. They were going to go, clearly they were going to go garage, and they heard the Odin, and they said, let's go mid, and that's into all the numbers.
It's weird. Like, I might just be being a scoreboard warrior, but I didn't see him get any kills.
No, you are, because it's about, he controlled their direction. He crowd controlled them. There's whole ultimates that crowd control. He did it himself with a reasonably priced weapon that doesn't need to be changed.
Oh, he might be a good argument for it not being changed.
Now that was rude. That was just too rude.
Well,
leave Rose alone.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Rose.
Doesn't sound like
you. That's not gone well. TP across, trying to get past Kreven's trip, but that was clearly a plan in the making. Well, it seems like every single micro play has not gone the way of Twisted Minds. Again, Lover's Rock, 10 kills. He's had his whiffs in this map, but he's also been hitting. The last round was a good one. And this round has started off the same. Loiter, he's just not risking it. And you can understand why. That would be a rifle given in an aggressive position, not willing to overface.
Here.
And this is just the other side of BBL Pacific. You've seen the aggression, you've seen the openers. And now you see the rat.
30 seconds left.
Symbol of strength. Some cultures. Perhaps it will be. Twisted Minds here. Odin on the side. No pressure onto him just yet. It's Loida to pick up Sikri. Lover's Rock with another. Looking much more comfortable, and that's going to be the spike down. Sure, a pick for Sand, but
doesn't matter.
He's not finding 3 in 10 seconds, is he? He's not finding that plant. In fact, he's not finding his way off the site as Lover's Rock swings in for his 3rd of the round. And, well, he might have started out his op journey here on Haven with a missed shot, but there's been clear absence of them in the last couple. He's 12-3 at the moment. And very much what we'd hoped to see out of him in this one. A 7-1 lead, though, for BBL Pacific. You have to ask, when will Twisted Minds show up to the level of the last map? And I think this is the round. 5 ultimates, full buy. Things should start going their way.
It's difficult. I think for Exit not having that flying start, been much tougher. Timmy the Turret will be the first to take an operator shot.
Just wonderful.
Yeah, that wall is taking some serious damage.
Yeah, and they're not going that way, Tom. That's the main thing. He's crowd controlling them into the site that's not defended.
Yeah. I think also just having that Rolling Thunder for the retake. The only thing will be is getting into a site for free with Viper's Pit could be a problem. Kreven looking maybe for a kill off the cross, but instead they're out. And actually, it's an Erling Rolling Thunder. They're going to try and fight back into it. Kreven's done well. First goes his way, swinging back through. Basically needs to do everything. His teammates are falling like flies, and well, he will join them. Lover's Rock, low on HP, is going to try and catch them as they move away. He almost loses his life for it.
That was the kill that would have changed the round, though. That would have taken the Viper's Pit out of play for Twisted Minds. And now, not only are they in a 3v2, but they have that big ultimate to work with. In fact, Lover's Rock on 4 HP. He swapped to a rifle, and he's on the wrap-up that is being watched by Sam.
Player standing.
That missed shot ends up costing Lover's Rock his life a little bit later on. And now Loida has a 1v3. They were isolated, but Sikri does well, and Twisted Minds have found their way back onto the board.
Yeah, much needed round and a lot committed into it as well. Hunter's Fury, Overdrive, which took them to space. They're needing even the TP at the end to get into that A site.
No more to oppose us.
7 and 2 down. And well, I'll be honest with you, other than the focus game, which was closed out quite quickly, it's normally the attack side where we see the majority of rounds coming out from BBL Pacific. So this is it's a very rough position to be in. Odin has been... Oh, it hasn't been repurchased, weird. Had so much success.
I like your attitude, Tom.
Oh, hello.
I like this position.
Oh, maybe not.
I don't like that position from Kraven. I mean, I've always said it. It's just too risky to play from there. Side for utility, down.
Oh, Rock's almost just died to a nano swarm.
And the rotations towards this side of the map now being questioned as you see this complete pump fake from Twisted Minds. Steps made, and then they just completely freeze, which is causing players to go back in the other direction. It's causing the op to leave what is ultimately an opper's paradise in terms of holding C long and locking down that control. So for Twisted Minds, they're doing a wonderful job with exactly the drone going down on A. That should sell it. Rose is about to get a little bit of info that nobody's home on that A long angle.
It's still, though, whether they can afford to gamble a full rotation back on that piece of information alone. They can't. They need some contact, and that is the contact. Loiter almost loses his life for it. Lorok waiting with stun in hand to try and set his teammate up with a chance. Loiter's made it to the backside, now a response, but Exit has already taken some control and a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter. Looking to get an ace again, but doesn't quite have the ammunition. It doesn't matter this time, though. Rose will make his way through the orb and does well on the first. The second player's low, an overpeak from Sand. And with the dart being shot, has a chance, but Zemo, the safe pair of hands. The man X has said you don't want to peek on an angle. Well, he was on the angle and ready.
Oh, I was going to make Mini watch that replay about 14 times in a row if Rose made that clutch
pretend like he wouldn't have just done that himself.
Well, actually, I would have replayed Mini saying Rose is not like 4-star players. Sorry, Rose, and then that back to back to back in a loop.
Okay,
but he gets shut down.
If we lost that round,
well, Sand.
If we lost that round, Sand is completely gone. Completely gone.
Oh, Sand's completely gone. Well, you know what? It was the same in the first half of Lotus. He was 1-7, leaving that half.
Is that not Zemo?
Yeah. I think what they're saying is Sand is not playing well. He's not in the right headspace. He's getting shut down in these fights. Right? Zemo won the clutch. This is what I'm saying. He's 3-9, Sand. And the coaching staff clearly, I mean, calling a timeout here for BBL Pacific. It's going to give Twisted Minds a moment to also address that. But I think Sand's already shown the ability.
I mean, on the last map, I think it was Zemo. Because they've swapped who is playing.
Sorry, you're right. It was. Sorry, I thought you meant was Zemo. Was Zemo that got the kill there at the end? You are actually right. We saw Zemo 1-7 and then bounce back. A little mix-up for me. But yeah, we've seen that bounce back from Zemo, I suppose, and now just trying to get Sand into that same
They were both
mindset.
on Viper, to be fair. He's now switched,
yeah,
and
they
that's why. You were thinking of Viper.
A little brain fart for me, but yeah, the reality is we can see players bounce back like that. It's actually kind of working out well, hearing that in the replay, and then seeing BBL Pacific call a timeout. It's a great moment for Twisted Minds.
I think it was more so just the risk that Sand took. I don't think it was the scoreboard situation so much. It was he was the guy who peaked in the 2v1, and it's like that risk was just completely unnecessary.
Just a moment to refresh the protocols with comms, with round-to-round play.
Especially when, like a round like that where you've had a huge individual play coming out of Exit, 4 kills. If that had slipped away, I think he would have been tilted afterwards.
Yeah, without a doubt.
7-3. Already on that climb back, though. And I think that's why we've seen it from BBL Pacific. But they've already had a huge lead in the last map that slipped away. And ended up, when the confidence was there with Twisted Minds, they were disgustingly good. Wow, a TP jump across from Loiter. It's going to get them a bit of information. In fact, they are moving already to the other side of the map.
This is interesting because seeing this Viper wall go up, I thought this was a big reason why Lovers Rock was playing in Garage, because this wall is going to consistently block out your deep aggression. And you're like, look how close of a fight he has to take. And if they walk down with that wall into the corner, he's already under too much pressure to get out of there. The
How long does
lockdown's
he
going to
stay?
also put him under a ton of pressure, but he can just back out. He's got teammates covering the site. And actually, this is getting the whole team in position on time for this push. There's 4 on backside, 1 cut by the stun, but exit. He's delivered a double. Loida does the same, but it's Lover's Rock staying alive. That could change the course of the round. Instead, Sand's got a double. A Viper's Pit up and online. Kreven creeping around, but they're retreating deeper into the pit. This is the perfect adaptation for the lack of control they have, and using that little angle underneath Heaven. Sikri's found himself the round. It's 7-4 now. Considering they were 7-1 down, we again, same as the first map, you look at this as a hell of a resurgence from Twisted Minds.
Again, you see just the value that is brought by Exit when he's on form. Like, the entries into the site when there's 4 players waiting there, he immediately eliminates one side of the site. So you can then just focus all of your attention on the other 2 players as they look to fight. Loiter still does well.
There's also a stun. I think a stone might end in caught 2.
Gun here.
But now with Outlaw in hand, he does have a rifle on the floor, but just realizing some of them are going to be low, and Rose has been hit. That early peak has already been met with a 140 shot.
He's going to use his drone while he has a chance. The limited information gained. I think the wall might be up. I'm not certain. Giving him a little bit less information to play with, and indeed it's refreshing. So I imagine that drone just saw absolutely nothing. Bar a shot blindly fired through. Or at most it would have seen Sand. Either way, noise being made elsewhere. Garage drone, steps from exit. And BBL Pacific want to respond to that lost control. They don't know if anyone's in garage, so they're going to go walkabouts, and it's down through B. This is going to give them a really early flank, and nothing is watching that flank. It's wide open. Lloyd is the only one sent to continue it, to finish off that flank. He could have a field day. He can just quicken the pace, but up goes the turret, and now it's called into question.
Lover's Rock's done well though, that's Exit. They said it's always been tougher when he's down first. The entries haven't really been there. Well, a little bit of styling of his own. 25 seconds left to make a move, and last round of the half, so they need to try something here, but it is a slaughter on the A site. 8-4, BBL Pacific don't allow the same mistakes as the previous map, as there was no comeback to be had.
Yeah, I think it was a nice attempt by Twisted Minds, containing the C-long push, looking for plays out of garage, but that one gap through mid ultimately left them with 2 players being dropped by Loida with the backstab. Nice work by BBL Pacific, 8-4 at the half. A chance for another map after the break. Well, it's time to see if this story ends in a 2-0 or if we're going all the way to Sunset to end out the game. I think Sunset was a while ago here in Germany, but these players still playing like it's the middle of the day. The energy certainly online, but for players like Exit, we've already seen him hit the highest of heights in that first map. Here, a little bit slower, but now on the defense, I think it's going to be a little bit more breathing room for him.
Slower than 31 kills.
Yeah, just not good enough, is it?
It's you know, it's a bit difficult. And I think on the Neon as well, it has just been a very much a dive in alongside the util and try and react quick enough. A solid half from BBL Pacific. Now they go into that attack side. I said, a lot of the time, this is where they are even more favored. A dive in towards Garage. This has got to be so confusing for the players of Twisted Minds. And now going to burst out of the angle that they kind of smoked off, but Sand's done well.
Down, C.
Lovers Rock eventually does get the entry he was always expected to get. Come on, Sikri, I don't think there's a way around that one. Even still, the trade's good for them.
Here. The numbers on their side, trades all that Twisted Minds need. And they found one after another. Lovers Rock, they know that he's close. The shock dart doesn't quite find him. Repositioned along is good. Wrap around though from Zemo. Could catch him completely off guard. He won't even find the first. It's Sikri to take him down. And a pistol round now. The first pistol round for Twisted Minds in this series. And much needed as well as they seek to climb back from a 4-round deficit in the first half.
I really like the movement from Sand as well. Like, you see that player fly across, probably tried to like half check it on the way in, realize, okay, probably no one there, and then you move into a position that maybe they expected to be clear. Just made it a bit easier for him to find those couple of openers. And as you sort of mentioned, like, he was, I think it was, what, 3 and 9, has started that comeback already. Catching up on the board. But yeah, of all the pistols, this is definitely the one that's most important for them to win. Down 8 and 4. But we're going to see that investment into Lovers Rock. He's been having a fantastic game, and that is why. It doesn't matter if you had light shields or heavy, your head's gone. Makes no difference.
Exit being the one to fall, very valuable. BBL Pacific, but they still have so much to do when it comes to pushing these sites. A high-low setup in play towards C-Long. Lovers Rock's got his work cut out for him, and he will be dropped immediately. They can retrieve that weapon for free. That drone maybe could have went out a little bit earlier. BBL Pacific, 4 versus 4, and they will walk back in the other direction again, but this spot has been filled in by Sikri, and he has an outlaw of his own. The difference here, the headshot, not needed. All he has to do is land one to the body.
Revealing area.
No, already knows they're on the other side of it, so definitely not worth the risk of getting overwhelmed. The second outlaw into enemy hands would put you in big trouble. Reset into the angle here in the swing. Well, you normally send the player without the sniper out first as bait. Instead it goes in second. That has not really worked out. No chance for a reaction. Another bite of the cherry, and while Sikri's done well. Last man left will also fall. A little bit of extra damage, but I'm assuming we'll see those extra weapons picked up. That will at least bring them forward with an okay buy. Still going to be a piece or two missing here for Twisted.
Yeah, and I suppose on this map, there's always going to be opportunities to use those weaker weapons, but being a ghost on Zemo may just be removing himself in a lot of these fights, playing the utility cross map. I like the turret. The turret can watch both C-Long and Garage. I was going to say, where's the alarm bot? But there it is, placed a little bit later in the doorway. So a lot of information to be held. He doesn't really want to be the one taking fights, and everyone else can take that priority. And already the turret has been broken, but you know that can very well just be early info gathering. They've seen a shock dart go out and an orb onto Rose, so the only information they can obtain is that at least Sova was towards C-Long. That's not going to force a big rotation, but Sand at least now covering in this gap leaves the map a little bit more open for BBL Pacific to work with. The thing they've lost, that they don't know about though, is Exit is pushed all the way up on A, and that drone has not seen him. This is very dangerous.
He's moved back though, and the timing's not worked out for him. Hunter's Fury's been popped. That was one of the major dangers in this round, and I believe not a single connection found. Even the chip damage would have been nice. Swings through, a nice shot at least, but 15 HP left on Exit. Jesse, still with a gun in hand, has managed to not only dodge the util, but more importantly, throw out some of his own. A 2-man advantage now,
30 seconds left.
and a bonus round that's falling apart for BBL Pacific.
I mean, a 5v2, they're rushing into B, but look at Zemo. Oh, no! I was going to say the patience. He's going to fly under the radar, but He almost gets taken down, util in hand. It wouldn't be the biggest loss. They'd still have a 4v2, but losing that extra bit of control, that extra bit of containment, as they now have LaRock. He's put a double on the board. This is winnable. We've seen Loida win much harder rounds than this. Jesse and Sikri need to lock in. The backside challenge, good for Loida. One more needed, and somehow BBL Pacific come out on top. A clutch to put 9-6 on the board, and a round that never should have been.
It's genuinely just ludicrous that you could put Loiter into those late round scenarios, and especially if he's with LaRock, you just sit there and go, this is very winnable. Like, this is very winnable. And of course, like, you sit and look at the round that was at, hey.
Oh my
2v5.
goodness.
2v5.
Hey, some people have lost 1v5s to Sheriff, so let's, you know, that's some people, many people, Tom. It happens a lot.
Okay.
But it was a bonus round. They did a lot of damage. You know, normally that's a good thing in and of itself, and it's enough to say that was a positive round for Twisted Minds. But the way that played out, that's
he didn't look very positive.
Oh, well, there we've got some body language analysis from Tom Biz. We'll have more. That's a new segment we'll add in.
Yeah, I'm going to have to charge them for that, though. That man not happy. Chair go hurty. Oh, well, the first bullet went wild, but the second one worked wonderfully. Jesse, again, off angle. It's given them the man advantage. Now, I would say this is a good position, but LaRock and Loiter are still alive, so let's say about even. Creven's there too.
About neck and neck. Yeah, we've had Rose disrespected by many, Creven disrespected by Tom Biz.
Look,
outrageous.
They're the ones winning the 2vx's.
Well, LaRock, he's only got one. Loida, paranoia in hand, he's caught it. And Sikri's run out of ammo. It is Creven to deliver the double. How do you like that one, Tom Biz? But Zemo, that spray, just a little to the right, and he's got a kill. Instead, a 1v2 retake is going to have to come into play, and that planned very open.
Planted the where is everyone hiding?
Aggro angle, but it's one that Zemo has to respect. Hoping that someone makes a mistake, but they've now fallen into close angles. The turret will help them out a little bit. It's only going to clear one of the players, and now Creven's repositioned. The second contact is made. He's likely to swing. Cam being destroyed, but it's all just an attempt at bait, but knowing there's a player on the cross, a nice first shot. Now Creven has to be a little bit more careful, but look at the plant. It's going to be so difficult to deal with him, especially with the time left. He knows that he has to almost stick this, and from this point onwards, that clock is surely too far gone. It's going to be close, but not close enough. A second to spare, as it will be BBL Pacific to turn that one around. And, you know, as said, I always believed in Creven.
Yeah, Tom, you're a big Creven believer from the get-go, out the gates.
Creven. So there you go.
Yeah, you did. And let's get another body language.
We're going to read that as a statement and not.
No, I think we can take in the tone that you said it in, a little bit of sarcasm, a lot of sarcasm.
I am never sarcastic.
That sounded sarcastic, Tom.
Sarcastic.
I'll be honest with you.
It's just called being British.
For BBL Pacific, double digits acquired, 4-round gap, and Sunset on the horizon.
That's a couple of really rough rounds to lose as well. Like, you should have won your bonus and your 4-3 up in the next round where your opponents have a Sheriff, and you lose that as well. I think for Twisted Minds, they'll look back at those two as the rounds that changed the map. It's just whether or not they've got enough left in the tank. They don't.
Yeah, this is an investment from Twisted Minds. It might not have looked like it. You just saw the Outlaw run riot, and Zemo left alone on that C site. Big rotation coming in, and for a second, BBL Pacific looked to be going elsewhere, but they decided to stick it out. And Jesse has somehow managed to fire himself into Garage, take a double, and put this back to neck and neck. An investment from Twisted Minds around they need, or map 3 looks likely, and somehow they've kept this alive. Ooh.
I don't expect that to work in ranked. Like, no. I'm almost certain they assumed that was a fake TP the Paranoia sent out, but I don't even think it connected onto both of them at least.
30 seconds left.
And now going back to the B side, the two players from Twisted Minds have gambled on A. The B side likely to fall under enemy control. Smoke even being placed. Stun thrown out will likely give the game away. Jesse still has one more TP if he wants to use it. In fact, two if you include the ult.
The rolling thunder for Larocque's a big problem. The aftershock for Larocque, also a big problem. And that's going to be the priority, putting that down first on the tap. There's the tap, utility to follow. And not even waiting for it either, just throwing that rolling thunder through, realizing they need to buy time, and Lover's Rock's going to be wrapping all the way around. Turn it out of commission, and in he comes. Blade Storm on the side, and hits a right click to success. A stun fired in, and Lover's Rock answers. As Sikri was forced into him. 11-6, BBL Pacific, they end up course correcting that round, but I got a little shaky with the garage play.
Yeah, we've seen the two sides to Lover's Rock. Last map definitely was a bit of a non-factor, but in this one, he's been anything but. Fantastic individual display with the sniper. And then even that late wraparound, he was spotted by the turret, but the fact is, at that point, they had too much to deal with on the other side with the rolling thunder and the delay put in by Larocque. And while the pause at this stage, it feels like there's been 3 very winnable rounds for Twisted Mind. Definitely the last 2. This one I think is maybe a little bit more forgiving. It was an early poor start up until Jesse's heroics. The fact is though, a 5-round deficit on your opponent's map pick and Sunset, well, it is looming in the distance. It's definitely a map that it feels a little bit more like that sort of middle ground. But we always talk about BBL Pacific, once they have that momentum rolling, the same we saw from Twisted Minds as well. Just whether or not they have enough in this map to truly change things, or if it will take 3.
Well, it does feel like we're at the deciding round, and I think with how we've gotten here with so many close rounds for Twisted Minds, on the one hand it looks doable because this could easily be a much closer scoreline, but on the other very human hand, it is difficult to sort of swallow those pills, to bounce back, to keep yourself in it mentally. You know, this is where that cortisone's released in the brain. It's hard to keep yourself locked in, but we've had a moment, a breather, and hopefully breather's been a Twisted Minds. We're in danger for Loida. Those spams, 3 players firing back and almost dropping the Smokes player of BBL Pacific off rip.
Yeah, that would have been a rough start. This sniper though, 1 shot to anybody other than Sikri. That is actually Zemo who's going to find the opener. Rose now out of the round as well. That is a hefty amount of damage to your controller, and you've lost your info gathering initiator. Now there is a turret on contact, but looking like a retake setup on A. I'm mainly looking at Sikri though. Still has the reveal available and a couple of shock darts. It seems like his plan is to just hold back and wait for the flank to come in. And if that cam doesn't get popped, they actually have a free walk up towards this A side.
Spike planted.
Oh, well, Kraven spotted 1. It comes at a heavy cost and immediately exits, closing the distance. But Lover's Rock fires back still. The man advantage sits with the defensive side. Loida so desperately low, shouldn't do much, but somehow BBL Pacific are the ones throwing haymakers and landing every single one. Twisted Minds. 2 versus 3, time ticking, players to root from position. I don't think they have time to take all 3 kills and defuse, and they're not even gonna get 1. Lover's Rock with a triple. He was low with an outlaw with players coming up behind with a stun at his feet, and yet here we are. Sikri, the only player to survive on Twisted Minds, and at 12-6, Twisted Minds needing to double up their scoreline just to hit OT. I think we're going to Sunset here without a doubt.
Yeah, there's multiple kills in this round where you look at that and go, I genuinely don't know how BBL Pacific came out on top.
Bad. Like, it's so bad.
Like, the fact is, you had Loiter 11 health winning a fight. You mentioned it, Lover's Rock was low from pretty much the get-go and still managed to find a couple. And it does seem like Twisted Minds, these last 4 rounds, they've had opportunities in all of them, but every single one of them has gone the way of BBL Pacific, and it looks like this might just continue. Another opener for Lovers Rock, a fight towards long, a brawl in fact with Jesse coming up behind. The most awkward fight you're ever going to see, probably because Zemo has no idea why Lovers Rock is fighting that angle.
Lovers Rock's flanking.
He's going back to where he started. He has done a round, well, round half the world.
Oh, this is ridiculous. And what a resurgence from Lovers Rock. 28 and 11, I think, by the time we close this out. A 3K in back-to-back rounds, and BBL Pacific are back in the game after a slow start on map number 1. A 13-6 sets us up for Sunset, the decider in this series. Map number 3 coming up.